Okay, so in this video I'm going to take you through some of the exercises, stretches, foam rolling exercises that I want you to do for the hip. Okay, so focusing around the hip, improving the mobility of your hip, and then obviously the stability as well as we move forward. So we're going to need a foam roller, okay, and a resistance band for this sequence of exercise we're going to do here. Now we're going to start off by foam rolling the adductors. The adductors are these muscles here on the inside of the thigh, okay? They can get quite tight when we end up there with the knees pushed together, okay? So we want to make sure that we iron out that. What also happens is when they get tight, these muscles here don't tend to work that well, okay? When these muscles here don't work, the glute muscles, okay, then we can get some other issues with the lower back or with tight hamstrings. So it's a good idea to make sure you keep an eye on your adductors, particularly if you're prone to them getting tight, and you can use your foam roller to do that. So we're going to put the foam roller on the floor at a 45-degree angle, okay? You're going to start with that roller just inside the knee, okay? And I'm going to roll that foam roller up towards the groin, okay? In there. So we're rolling up towards the groin. Now, if you find somewhere that's particularly tender and you want to just lift that foot up slightly and just feel that a little bit more, then absolutely do. And hold it there and wait for that to sort of ease a little bit before you roll again, okay? In that position now. Now, obviously, you'll do that on the other side as well, okay? Second exercise, we're going to foam roll the quads. This can be done on one leg or two. Yep, so either one leg or the other, and then you can do both. So we're going to go one leg on the roller. Okay, we're going to go forwards like so, up towards the hip, and then back in there. So if I turn side on, you can see that as well. So the roller just above the hip, sorry, just below the hip, down towards the knee, just above the knee, and all the way through the quads. Now, if you want to sort of hit the outside of your quads a little bit more, yeah, or even the inside slightly, which we've nearly just did a second ago, then that's absolutely fine. And if you fancy just below the hip, you can sometimes get tight through the hip flexors. Feel free to hit them as well. All right, so anywhere really from the hip to the knee on the front portion of your leg. Okay. Now this exercise here, this is a stretch which will stretch off the whole of the front of your body. Okay. It's not the easiest stretch to get into, so if you can't achieve it, then what I want you to do is lie on your front, okay, and pull the heel towards the back side and do this stretch. Okay. If you can achieve this exercise, the way you're going to do it is you're going to lie on your front, you're going to grab both feet, okay, now you're going to grab relatively close to the toes, you're going to lift the knees off the floor and the chest, and it's what we call a bow stretch. So whilst you're there, you'll probably feel the muscles in your back and your glutes working, all right, but we don't need to force it. What we want to try and do whilst we're there is relax, some deep breaths, okay, and just feel that stretch through the front of our legs, okay, so that's what we call a bow stretch in there. All right, like I said, if you can't do it, you grab one foot and you do the other stretch that I showed you. The next exercise we're going to do to strengthen the glutes is a nice simple one that we call a donkey kick. So you start with your hands under your shoulders, knees under your hips, and you're going to take that knee at 90 degrees and take the sole of the foot towards the sky. Okay? Every time we bring the knee down to touch the ground, we squeeze that glute on the way up. Okay? So as I lift there, that glute on this leg here that's off the floor, yeah, it's squeezing tight, and I return it to the start. Really think about the muscles you're using when you do this exercise, because it's one of those ones you see it done horrendously, yeah, and the glute is just not being engaged, there's too much lower back involved, yeah, and we're getting extension of the lumbar spine and not activation of the glute, which is what we want, okay, so we need to get those glutes engaged. The last exercise, so the fifth one in the sequence, is a tube walk. Now, this is one of my favourites, okay, in terms of activating the glute medius muscle, okay, and helping to sort out alignment in terms of where the foot is relative to the knee. So you're going to start off with your feet about hip width apart. You're going to step over an imaginary object, and then you're going to do the same going with the other leg. But what you don't want to do is allow that trail leg to get pushed in. So we keep the feet at least hip width apart. We do the number of reps or time in one direction. We do exactly the same in the other direction. Okay. Now, if you've got a number of reps to do that is too many for you to do in one direction before having to turn around, okay, just break it down, okay, or if it's a time scale that's too long for you to do, you've got a very small area to work in, just break it down. Tube walks, make sure you keep the feet square, don't let the toes turn out, okay, and that's your fifth exercise in that little sequence for the hips.